City. Not always pretty, Coach, but it's been a lot of fun.
Well, I'll tell you, you could really see Aldridge working as the bottom man in the 2-3 zone, but nobody's worked harder than Brockman has.
Washington just getting rebound after rebound, but they can't put the ball in the basket.
Well, a lot of that has to do with trying to shoot over Aldridge, too.
Yes.
You're going to play against 3 teams that are pretty good, and that's a lot happens in those games that enables you to gauge your team a little bit and where it is.
Coach, have you ever been courtside in a game where one team has 1 offensive rebound and the other team has 17 offensive rebounds?
You know, in as many games as I coached, Dan, I'm sure I had to see that somewhere along the way, and I would hope it would have been our having the 17 offensive rebounds and the other guy having 1, but I couldn't say that for sure. 17 offensive rebounds, yet the Huskies have only scored 22 points. Their shooting percentage is down below 30%. Great catch by Reed on an iffy pass. That was a walk.
Aldridge, a big target. Bumping with Brockman. Markieff Morris tried to dump it down to Morningstar. And it'll be Washington ball.
I think with those 17 rebounds, they're obviously happening with a lot of missed blockouts on Kansas' part inside. But I think the reason for not being able to convert them then is the quick reaction to the missed blockout by Aldridge. I mean, he is just, and Morris along with him. When the two of them are in the back of that zone, they are just very, very difficult to go up against with a second effort shot.
Well, Bill Self, he'll look at the stat sheet at halftime, and I'm sure message number 1 will be blocking out for Kansas. Washington has had their chances, but the zone has really slowed them down. Thomas blocked. Markieff Morris. Tyshawn Taylor in time.
Kansas is 13 for 24, so while they've out-rebounded them, they haven't taken advantage of those rebounds they've gotten, and that's why it can be misleading.
17 offensive rebounds, but only 8 second-chance points, shot only 24%. The zone really slowed them down. Cole Aldridge, we spent a lot of the first half talking about him, Coach. 8 points, 5 rebounds, 4 blocks, 2 assists, and a steal. That's a good half's worth of work for a big guy.
Well, and you know, except for the blocks, there really is not enough statistical evidence to tell us just how effective he is there defensively with his size and his willingness to go after the shot.
John Brockman, the potential All-American for Washington, 7 points and 10 rebounds in the first half. A miss by Marcus Morris, but KU gets it back. Nice pass. Morris from Collins.
Now that was an example of Collins getting the ball and immediately looking toward the basket. Had he not done that, he would not have seen Morris open like he was.
3rd assist of the night for Collins. With the ball, Isaiah Thomas. We talked about him a lot off the top of the show. If you weren't with us, he's a freshman from Tacoma. Spent a couple of years in prep school in Connecticut. 7 early points, Coach. 7 points in about the first 5 or 6 minutes of the game, and then didn't score the rest of the first half.
I think Kansas has made a good move going back to man here to start the second half. There's that look at that presence on that shot.
Aldridge got a piece of it. Shot clock violation. Kansas ball as we go to Doris Burke.
Well, one of the things Lorenzo Romar talked about was Kansas's ability to contest shots, contributing to that poor percentage. He said one thing I would like to see against the zone is you see Roger Ayers addressing these 2 young guys. One thing that this coach would like to see against the zone, should Kansas play here in the second half, is when they do get penetration into the middle of that zone, instead of trying to make the home run play, look for the first solid pass, whether that's to pitch to a 3-point shooter or an interior guy. Feels like they're trying to do too much once they get inside the lane, guys.
We need to show that last possession on defense to Bill Self so he'll know. So he'll have an idea that maybe his team is a little bigger than he thinks it is.
Well, coming over to take the charge is Pondexter. Aldridge going up strong, but called for the offensive foul.
You know, if we were to run a quick, there's a replay. You can see that Aldridge is a little bit concerned about running into the guy to begin with. He doesn't really focus on the bucket.
The crowd getting a look at the replay on the scoreboard here in Kansas City, and the pro KU crowd did not like the call at all.
Well, there's 17,000 referees here on a call like that, Dan.
Pondexter with a bucket, and he draws the fouls. That's 4, maybe 5 charges we've seen called by this crew already in the game.
That came off a really good cut, and again, a very timely pass. My wife is a great stickler for passing, and I'm sure she appreciated that pass.
Your wife is she's a basketball expert, right? I mean, she's